Hello, I like to share with you my 45 years of entrepreneurial journey. Starting in 1978, and first I built the band company. I all describe that in my autobiography, and you can see here the link to my autobiography in three parts. First, system of records, band company. Then I burned my ships, starting again with internet-driven solutions, because in band we had no browser, and I started with Chorus, end of last century. And then later on, we start again. Chorus became part there of open text, and we start again with the Vanberg company, what we changed later in Rapid. Okay, let's share with you this story. Good. The start in 1978, Baan company founded by myself as, say, advocating on open systems. We are dealing with Unix quite early, our operating headquarters in the Netherlands. And quite early in 1987, we moved already to India. And it was a biggest differentiator, and that helps us tremendous. 10 years before, SAP and Microsoft had their premise in India. The first major international software product company starting in Bombay, in Seeps, Mumbai, and then we moved to Hyderabad, where we have our development center from 1995, starting with over 200 developers in the Band 4 product. And you see here the team those days, real experienced people. We are able to acquire them in the market because we are quite attractive as a foreign company they're in. A few PhDs they're in. Ramanathan, my first general manager, who is still involved with me on this moment as my key advisor in my board. Agalia still following me in the Afterbahn company in Cordis, and even now crucial part there in Rapid, especially on AI, etc. We built a, say, quite big campus. We invested tens of millions in India after IPO, and I invested it private, and that has given us a tremendous reputation. We also were hosting many American companies in our campus, and later on, I was able to sell the campus to the city of Singapore. It's even today Fee Park, a complex park with more than 40,000 employees in high tech in Hyderabad. What we built in the early 80s already was our famous Baan shell. The Baan shell was the opportunity for us, changing from the basic language, Start Basic on microcomputers to Unix. And quite early, we had our our basic language, and we are able to build a converter, and later on there in a real shell where we were able to have the basic language, what we were able to bring it to pseudo language and connect them to the Baan shell. And we built our libraries in C, had them all together, and built a standard program where we integrate all the stuff with dynamic enterprise modeling, and we even could do our C++ development. Which we were from the early 80s already with the Baan shell and decoupled libraries, database independent, operating system independent, and of course CPU independent. And it was, say, a real unique element compared even with our colleagues like Oracle and SAP, who were not able to do it in this way. There we built our Baan ERP solution, and in 95 you see already our flagship, the Baan 4 product, where we were able to win the Boeing deal. Quite nice, developed everything around one single database, maybe tens of thousands of database tables, but not 10 times more like what we see in an SAP solution. And it was decoupled. We could have every type of business solution from make to stock, make to order, assemble to order. And on the latest moment, we are able to decouple them. Master booking, scheduling, business planning, have all the things together. And I see the all logistic part, invoicing and purchasing, link them together in the requirements planning, production, warehouse management, etc. Our famous customer order decouple point to decouple all those stuff. Here, a real and interesting product. And okay, starting from 1978, being in 87 with our software factory already in India, that helped us tremendous, propelling us. We had a venture capital firm invested in us in 1993 for 30%, for 33 million US dollars, and they collected 1 billion a few years later. But due to, again, the resource in India and this venture capital firm, we were able to win the famous Boeing deal in 1994. We did IPO in 95, and I should say the company was always disruptive innovation driven, but it changed a little overnight, where I've given over, say, the responsibility of my CEO role in beginning of 98 to Tom Tinsley, a McKinsey veteran, and I have still more a professional team, but the company moved from disruptive innovation to M&A driven, in my opinion, too much, but okay. The company was acquired in 1998 by Invensys and later on adopted by Infor. And it was real good because Infor was a real bringing more value than Invensys to the bank product, what is still on this moment a core element, the diamond in the Infor portfolio. I mentioned already the Boeing deal with 40,000 users on one instance on Band 4. And that was maybe the situation that Gartner ranked us in 1998 as, say, the leading player in the ERP parts. SAP, the biggest one, Band, the best one. They call it Bob's, and Oracle and PeopleSoft, we were in the strategic matrix. But I came to the conclusion, because I felt a little that everything was obsolete, started on my own in 78 after 20 years. It was nothing was built in a browser. And I started again, sold my shares and had their money available to start from scratch again, burning my ships. And I started with Cordis, a systems of differentiation. And here we built our famous business operating platform, integrating all legacy solutions together in a SOA grid and have your business processes end to end, and build our composite application framework, more what we call today kind of microservices, and have our business operating platform. And I was the first investor in WebEx. I had 33% of WebEx and majority investor of top tier. And I did it those days in 1998 to use them in the slipstream of Band Company. Band Company was not built for the internet, and there was this real internet, say native companies. But okay, it with this M&A driven strategy, and the board was not so much focusing on some things to the future, I decided to start again. Now, and from here, with this technology helps me a lot to build the Chorus business operating platform. And later on, we moved to a Chorus process factory, where we were dealing there with WebEx, and we are building more microservice, more composite application framework in the link them immediately to WebEx. It was a big step forward. The board was not so much in favor. I had here my board 50% my own shares and 50% by a venture capitalist. And yeah, what should I say? This was quite a real disruptive initiative, what we did from 2005. And say in 2009, the board was not so much in favor because we're still underwater. They like to stop with this one, and I personally acquired this initiative in my Vandenberg venture. And it became part of my Vandenberg venture, and over time, Chorus was acquired by OpenText. And I started for the third time, what we call here with systems of innovation, bringing these microservices and now what we call Rapid. No vendor lock-in, avoiding vendor lock-in. And here we built what we call the Internet of Things, linking all these microservices, I will explain that later on, and adopt this ERP type of solutions, even other legacy solutions, could be what we see here, the PDM, GetCam, etc., and looking to order to cash and enabling some stuff, and have connecting the dots with these microservices. But okay, later on I will explain more from this one. I mentioned already in 1998, we came to the conclusion that ERP became the mother of all complexity. And we initiated something, what we called, the initiative was the ERP shape shifter. Respect ERP, but only under the hood and bring it further, taking cost and complexity out of ERP and environments and increasing agility. It means see ERP only as the engine, but it's not the place to do innovation. But you cannot do everything in microservices because most people do not understand the complexity of ERP. Therefore, sunset step by step your legacy ERP, take only the vanilla part, and go see also offer for big customers a new opportunity for bespoke elements in microservices. I we learned there again ERP becoming the mother of all complexity, it became a real monster. And it's hard to use this monster to change it only on the dashboard. That means we were able to take only the engine because ERP was often dictating the whole business. And yeah, you see that managers want to run regardless of even IT, and it's just not changes do not impact the ERP, but have a real work with ERP timescales and a real what we've seen. Leave IT more under control. And our business operating platform helps there a lot. We decoupled all those legacy solutions. We are able to integrate them with a grid and optimization of a business enterprise service bus. And in this enterprise service bus, we even could connect it and adopt these business services and move to master data management to link them all together. And then in our business management, process fees, we see our business process fees, case management, rule management, decoupled on the latest moment, and business activity monitoring, and focus also to what we call composing this application framework, having a business operating platform in the cloud native. But then we're talking of business process management, but realize that we have two kinds of business process management. One is linked to systems of record, the enterprise. You see these enterprise applications who are transactional driven, and you bring them in your business process to your business process management. You integrate them with systems of records, transactional solutions. But even you see your case management solutions, what you've seen often in document management, Lotus Notes, they were human-centric. And we built a collaborative workspace where we could handle both, say, transactional oriented systems and case management solutions together in one instance, and it was very attractive. But we learned Codex became acquired by OpenText. But again, we built our SOAP APIs and everything quite complex. But I learned later on we have our REST API, all consumerized on your mobile. Now, simple like it can be, and why not replace it? And you see the strong points in the REST API. Okay, and with Gartner, we followed them and we came to the conclusion systems of records by 70% should be changed to only maybe 10% for your common ideas, your operational efficiency. Then we go to systems of differentiation, end-to-end processes for the business. There was only a little with these BPM rules that should increase for better ideas. But then again, for the third time in this Gartner base layer application strategy, we came to systems of innovation, what we today call microservices, game-changing elements, and it should control the business, but you should link them all together. Now, I've been here, I'm born here, burned my ships, built everything again here, burned my ships and moved here, but we know all the knowledge, we know how to integrate this one. Then we moved to focus on Google Cloud. Of course, we are already familiar with Google for more than 15 years, and I will explain it later on with a very interesting company. And we figure out Google, we optimized for Google Cloud with our rapid generating applications, and we know how to use it and incorporate the element of the cloud. And what we now did in our rapid platform, we are able to, for the first time with a business consulting, talking with the inside business operating guys, and generate immediately, acquire your requirements and generate in a refining element permanently your requirements to maybe 60, 70 to 80% of Java source code, and you generate immediately your prototype and you make a jump start and have and do a code generating, and you do it again and again and again. I mean, in one afternoon you have maybe already 40, 50% of your source code, all UX driven, and show the business what they can do. And Last mile can be done, and I will explain that later on why it is different with low code. Because everything is generated in Java, and the last mile can be finished by a developer themselves, but totally decoupled. Still, we automate in our DevOps and all the stuff, all the CI/CD elements with a single-click deployment, pipeline scripts. We are multi-cloud, agnostic to clouds, but go very deep in Google, and even have our with say data synchronization, data lakes, etc. We can automate and bring them all in a Google environment with BigQuery. And again, no vendor lock-in in what we're doing here. And it makes it quite unique in the market in what we do there. Good. And we built in the last 15 years around this platform also what we call accelerators, a landing zone where you immediately can do all your cyber security elements. We did it by Solvay, they're validated by Accenture, and I will explain later on what it means. It means then you have totally element of cyber security focused on all the Google stuff. And with this real accelerator, we can go to new customer in a few weeks. We start and have all this landing zone for enterprise grade available. Same with the data lakes data engineering accelerator, where we learned how to deal that with thousands of backend solutions like SAP, see all those data and deliver them in 2 weeks and have a starting point. And again, for many years, from neural networks last century, moving to machine learning, to AI, and we built our real machine ops accelerator and have there also this stuff available. Now, we call this two elements the rapid developer, but also the rapid composer. And in the rapid composer, we are focusing especially what we did in the past with Lotus Notes on the workflow elements. Simplification of workflow, no code, and immediately generate them and build it here. With one database, you do all your workflow, you integrate them, everything on mobility, multi-tenant, and focusing on the citizen developer. And then you see real smart UX-driven applications who are very easy to use. And you even from here, you give a contribution to the end user. Instead of the end user have to learn these complex ERP solutions and lose time, you do the opposite one. You adopt this stuff and give a real, make the productivity of the end user much faster. And what we even do is all say, what we see is in this real, what we see, these microservices, they all are in these applications are workflow driven, and you can see all the systems always is generating the flow. Now, very easy, you can tools like claim handling, and and you generate everything and can link it together from the system. But on the same moment, we also are able to see the workflow, but also the time scale. It's quite unique, because you can follow the workflow from one user to another user and optimize them, and have then also the same workflow in a timeline available. Link them easy together, and very easy. From here we can integrate with every system, like an SAP system. Under what conditions should I take some elements, like here? I have a validation of a claim and link them here to other systems and mapping them together. Now, these two elements, we call it high productivity suite for enterprise application developments. We have this high productivity code and a no code, these two different elements. The microservices with rapid developer, requirements, what I mentioned, capturing, prototyping, code generation, lifecycle management, what I mentioned before. And in this area, we built a new platform, Undoc, an intelligence document processing solution, was built in this platform ourselves. And even what we built is with Rapid Composer, a shop floor solution for real intelligence manufacturing solutions. Here you see the drag and drop UI, workflow engine, the integration, and the rule engine, Java-based optimizing for Google Cloud. Good. Now, application metadata, where we can see, okay, the one is the definition data, could be for the composer developer, our custom code to explain it in artifacts in an easy way on the UX basis. We see our metadata, and we see our applications. There is effects elements. A document is authorized for a hardware vendor. We link them all together, the KPIs, and the running apps in the Rapid suite. And again, we can see the applications built by our own or built by our partners can be united together. And even the custom code, the composer definitions, what we're doing, and then we see our runtime CDLC, our system development lifecycle, where we have all these ops elements incorporated and architectural rules in it. Good. That differentiate us from the three elements where we see now the citizen, developer for simple end user, for more the tech-savvy power user, or we see the pro developer for these complex traditional backend solutions. Now, we have these very simple apps where you see Microsoft with Power Apps or AppSheet, where we can do, in my opinion, much more with our Rapid Composer. And our this is more spreadsheet plus, but here we do totally microservices on the front end. Here on the same moment, we differentiate from OutSystems, Mendix, Process Maker, etc., where they have struggling a little bit the last mile, and that's what we can do with Java, because it's not a runtime version where you are locked in, but it's a platform where I run everything in a Java environment, and we can do the last mile here and build every complex applications. Good. I mentioned already, we learned a lot. We learned a lot with Valeo was our Boeing, what we did in Baan's time with Boeing. We were able, from Cordis, to win the Valeo deal with building with these process factory elements. We acquired it later on in Vanenburg, but I still supported Valeo as a customer and to replace all their Lotus Notes applications. And there we built what we called our Rapid Toolbox. Rapid was developed as a toolbox for ourselves to permanently increase the productivity by Valeo, what we spent in the last 15 years building 15 complicated apps. Valeo, leading automotive tier 1 company, 20,000 billion in revenue, 110,000 employees in 33 countries, 187 production sites, but doing a lot in R&D, 2 billion in R&D, which in 63 R&D centers. And in these 63 R&D centers, also I show you, we did also a lot of elements there. In Valeo, number 1 in Vipers. Your Viper is coming from Valeo, number 1 in Lightning, and do a lot what you see even in this driving assistance for Valeo, for Tesla, etc. Where we see the autonomous cars is coming from Valeo, and even the thermal systems there. Now, what we did, we built a kind of a lot of applications therein, but we are able to build critical applications very rapidly in 3 months. Before in Lotus Notes, we replaced all their thousands of Lotus Notes applications in their use in our platform, but we built for them our complex applications, what they could not do with the other tools, and we built them in our Rapid toolset, integrated with other ERP solutions like 40,000 SAP users, etc. Now, the CIO mentioned, why did they choose Vanenburg? Because the digital agents do not understand the business, and the big 6 consultants are too expensive and not agile. And Vanenburg understand both technology and business. That is what we do in Rapid, aligning business and IT together and knowing about processes is what the CIO mentioned. And the challenge was therein to replace this Lotus Note stuff. Difficult to change. Mentioned already 50 complex applications, HR, finance, quality, warranty, and project management. Applications have integrated in their backend solutions with SAP and PeopleSoft. And the latest innovation from Google is building rapidly, high scalable. Sometimes we use 60,000 users together in some apps. We can scale up, scale down, very low total cost of ownership. Now, the example, around this 40,000 SAP users for their 184 factories running ERP, they decided to use in their R&D center not SAP, because this is more Kanban oriented, another type of stuff, and they've chosen Microsoft Project with the Gantt chart solution. And again, okay, they for many years their Microsoft Project solution, but it was on-premise and too limited. And we built around this solution in the last 10 years many complex microservices to optimize this Microsoft project for their totally 22,000 users. And we built, say, one access my profile, access all the rights to all the users, 22,000 users, advanced projects where thousands of managers have to control all those projects. My project workflow to control the forecasting, what could not be done here, Teams capacity, dashboard, access to catalog, now industrial projects, synchronizing all this data. Now, means we have already experienced from 10 years with a legacy Microsoft project solution, Kanban oriented, and have their microservices integrated. But then they came to the conclusion to replace this one. There are some alternatives with off-the-shelf products, but we could convince them to do it ourselves, and we rebuild it in a couple of months in the same tools like here and integrate them all in a one solution, but it is done on our own IP. We convince them to do it with our investment. We did it in a few months, and immediately we were able, in a very modern way, adopting all these Gantt charts, etc., in a modern microservice-oriented solution. You can even connecting with the traditional Microsoft solution, but now it's a Microsoft killer, what we have in the front, and we implement it in a few weeks therein. Yeah. Some advance is complex, I mentioned already, the core suite of applications used by Valeo, the R&D teams for a complete project management. We built it is a small ERP solution, what you can say, what we built on Google Apps. Tremendous scalable, mentioned already, IT owned by us, Google Cloud based, and with Microsoft project replacement in a building now, and we do with collaborative editing and real completing stuff, 22,000 users. They logged 3.5 million hours in a month, 200 departments in 20 countries, managed by 6,000 project managers, and 11,000 projects can go for many years. Quite maybe one of the most advanced product-oriented solutions in automotive, but maybe worldwide, if you look to what's going on. And now all running on microservices and incorporating it with their SAP solutions, what I mentioned already. Now, some examples what we built for them in the past, especially the claim handling for smart learning in 15 applications, but this claim machine learning. Now, and they're all integrated in the beginning with 200 SAP instances. They reduce it now to maybe a couple of 5 or so over the years, but still running their 40,000 employees. And they were able, with all our contribution, to save 50% on all those crucial business processes, bringing more the interaction of the human in the workflow on the front end on top of this legacy system for more than 10 years. Now, this is a real and exciting element. Claim handling. I mentioned already, one of the most complex solutions, field claim detection processes. Those claims are coming with spreadsheets from 32 tier 1 companies to Valeo, 32 say OEM companies to Valeo's tier 1, and this million claims a year. We take them and they report them now in 48 hours, what took months. Every month, the Volkswagen, the Tesla, and say the General Motors and Mercedes-Benz and Volvo, etc., report only once a month. But we took these spreadsheets as a core element in our rapid development team, and we are able, the first one, to integrate all those spreadsheets at once. And therefore, we could handle it now instead of in a month, in one day. And every day, all the, say, I will show you more details, but all the claims are coming in. Models are deployed with Google machine learning, with TensorFlow. We do all the machine stuff therein, sets models. And this Google infrastructure, where they deal very fast with Google machine learning and models and TensorFlow, link them to the data lake. And in this data lake, with this on the 200 SAP system, etc., we have an end-to-end process value together and move them every day with all these machine learning elements through it. Now, we do it not once, now we do it cumulative. That means on this moment, from over the 8 years, you have over 8 million claims, what we collected in all the 8 years, who coming every night to this washing machine and optimizing all the spare parts and everything what's going on there. Now let me explain it. In the beginning, they had an army of warranty managers. Now it's now moved down to only a few ones because all automated. Now, and that means they take all those claims overnight and night run in. And what they like to do, their field early warning system, link them everything in, detect the claim, classify them, see all these analytics elements. I will show you a little more what they did already for the last 25 years. And they like to select on a bad population and reference population. With all these factors, describe them coming to the 5W to H with all these methodologies, the why, what, and etc. With these methodologies, what is used in industry, and then analyze them and create a red flag in the end, and automatically alerting all those stuff every night. And doing a lot of reports, but I bring you maybe a very amazing report. There is a field early warning triangle. We have many of those analytics one. This is field early warning triangle. We see claims per country, claims per continent, regression test detection. This coming every night out of the system. Here we have the 16 factors that they did already the last 25 years. Around the customer, sub-customer, plant, vehicle, continent, hemisphere, car type, climate elements, driver profile. We know how many kilometers they're in, the climate condition, Oracle log, more parts together, take all those stuff therein and see by a part number everything. Now, means the claims are coming in as selected, and then we see immediately, okay, we see the claims who are production month and repair, who are where are the claims coming from, but on the same one from the actual part, they immediately make a prediction part to what can I expect therein for this red and green area, what I mentioned already. We link them here in. Now, what I'm doing now is say, okay, realize that these claims are coming in now in one day, and it was before them in a couple of months before they had all these elements. Now, we immediately they can see, okay, what is the defect from all the components, maybe 0.3%, but now we're making maybe a claim of 800 pieces, and it seems immediately the first claim the defect seems 20%. And become a chaos. And from where, and from all these algorithms, they can anticipate what to produce already or to ship it already in anticipating and predicting all those elements. Now, this is really one of the core elements of Industry 4.0, what we do already to have all the data together and on the front end, on microservices, end-to-end, one version of the truth. And with this machine learning, it means what we did already for many years before, and learning our experience. Machine learning, bring the models in, train the models, and test the models, and deploy them, and have them for catalog and of categories, streets, etc., and training all on applications, etc. Now, these are the secret parts what we contribute to Valeo and help them to optimize this model, where they saved multi-millions in this area. Now, what is winning? Instead of months, in 48 hours, we can record every claim from every repair center from every OEM. If Volvo have a problem in Toyota's, in problem in Tokyo, of anywhere of Mercedes-Benz in the Caribbean or anywhere, it means in every language, in Taiwan, it doesn't matter. We see immediately this claim from the local language is generated with OCR to Valeo English, and in 72 hours we can define the part and the OEM and where it is and going to the repair center. Now, tremendous for global failure situation will learn us a lot. Behavior description, diagnostics, cost reduction, what I mentioned and quicker for them and be efficient to support. From Valeo. Due to Valeo, close also by Valeo in France, the headquarters, we have Solvay. Solvay became aware of us and invited us to help them with all those Google apps what they built in the last years. And they say, okay, what if we want to accelerate your digital transformation? In a Vaanberg way, we help them and bring everything together for these 22,000 employees, 30 billion in sales. And they mentioned that acceleration development is increasing by 100%. We reduce the cutting application cost by half, and employee satisfaction due to the UX part by more than 50%, 24/7. Managing that, and out of this came for us a real landing zone. Sorry. Now, what means this landing zone? It's validated by Valeo. We took all the tools and knowledge from Google on cybersecurity, and with the help of Solvay, we built this landing zone to all these elements like standard tenancy, managed access, automation, etc., and link them all together by security by design. And till detail, we can see all the policies, what to do and how to handle. And it brings us in our catalysator as a big tool for new companies, say entrepreneurial elements. Undoc, mentioned already, here we automate all the documents with document processing. With OCR, now here we learned a lot. Doesn't matter what it is, we understand it and we make it useful. With Google's knowledge, with OCR, and every invoice, order, receipt, contract type, or doesn't matter, automatically, in a nutshell, we adopt them as real human-based. We can do the last mile and bring them all together and have, you can see it later on, and bring them to a product. Now, what is the benefit in what we did? 45 years of my entrepreneurial journey. In Baan's time, the first 20 years, we had no internet in the product. Only in 1995, we were a little adopted by internet, but not in the product. There was no browser, etc. I quit. With my shares, I had money enough. The first year we invested more than 60 million in Chorus. We were able to do this, no customer. We developed a lot and we went everything to native cloud. And we built a PaaS company, platform as a service, and became one of the leading to the analysts in 2008 or so as PaaS companies, platform as a service like Salesforce, etc. And we knew everything how to do this cloud yourself and have all these elements. But again, then later on, again, birdmanships, and I mentioned, okay, we see all those commodity stuff therein. And that means if you go to infrastructure, instead of PaaS, you see infrastructure as a service. And then you see real again, if you go therein, okay, in the clouds, what it is in Azure, Google Cloud, Amazon, or anywhere, we see all those elements coming in. But all those components, open source components, are all linked to DevOps. And our focus became DevOps. We became a Google Premier Partner and say, okay, now we can adopt everything from here, open source and Google, and we focus only on DevOps. It means only all those, say, cloud or related stuff in our technology, we could move it again and we could increase tremendous our productivity for the business. In application development and support, data analytics, Gen AI, and cloud operations. And it became commodity for us, and we knew it. Now, in Rapid, we built all those tools, and through Google, we have access to all this stuff and all these open elements, and we are agnostic in our DevOps APIs, generating codes, and see no vendor lock-in, cloud native, real microservice, etc. Now, from here, we learned some things, and we learned what we see, the rule, what we see therein. Now, what is the problem? That is what we see. If we look today for ERP solutions, they also move now to the cloud. They also like to bring it as a PaaS solution, but the middleware stinks. I know it for myself in Baan, because the middleware is still thinking from the Conway law, where it came from, you do it. Now, you see the same here. The lessons learned by the pilgrims who changed from 60-20, from Europe, from England, from even Novi Leiden, with these beautiful buildings. And they are more cultural identity quite strong together, moved to America in Massachusetts. They built more Harvard, and they became the core in the United States in settlements and doing therein. Now, and again, instead of doing something new, they took what they inherited, the same what we see, where even if you look to Oracle to SAP, moving to the cloud with the same technology. Now they built their houses with the same technology, although they did not have all the functionality. Now, and they built their colonial houses. And the colonial houses were colonial because they were colonists, and the colonists have colonial constraints. And they had all this exact elements what they had before in the 7th century in the Netherlands, in how to build these beautiful buildings, what you still can see in Amsterdam by many. Now, what is the problem? Is the Conway law, and it's the lesson for software. You cannot quit where you came from, and you're locked in, and then you go. There's also, you can't do disruptive innovation. Now, I mentioned I 2 times burned my ships. I became decoupled, and that's for me the unique element to adopt new stuff. Now, that's what we could do. We say, let Google do it. Instead of having an ERP-driven cloud solution, let Google do it. And on the same moment, we can say, okay, from Google, we see our private cloud and have everything under control with all those elements, with these microservice architectural elements, and the data is even no longer under control of Google. It's also there, totally isolated, etc. But now I have 2 elements. We see there the elements, what we call the latency data, and the latency data there you see is what we do by Google. But we have another element, is the Internet of Things. And there you have real time, every sensor. And there you go to transactional analytics, and you go to business intelligence. Now, and how to combine this one, but these guys are not controlling here the cloud data. Here we go from the cloud data, but here we have all the things together. And here we have edge computing. Now, again, decouple that and learn it. And on the decoupled element, I can adopt every sensor on the latest moment in my mobile, because everything is connected, even with all those sensors on the commodity what we have here. Now, let me try to explain this. This is another job, another profession. And here I had a nice company where I did also made in, it's called, what we did with automaton. And from automaton, I learned you have 2 elements of business processes. You have the business processes who are machine-driven, and the other one are human-driven. And they're totally opposite. And not so many people to understand this one. And you can't do both. Those machine-driven processes are forcing, the human is forced by the machine. And you have to do what the machine is offering you. And the functionality, what you have is in machines, and skilled workers, how to say work together. But here the mass is machine-driven. Here's the opposite way, is human-driven, with case management and all these business processes. Now, and here, the logic is adopted here in this ERP legacy solutions, and with microservices, we can consumerize and optimize them here. And here we can link them in a late binding. Machine will be disrupted by people, and then here, difference between machine and humans. Now, there's what we learned. Now, what you can build, and what I did very fast, and say, okay, there's no machine-to-machine interaction here in what we see. And if we do this here, now that means here we can control our sensors, bring them in an operation application, and try to link them with business domain application to the enterprise. But it is hard. Customer integration is expensive. Doing it here, and again, machines are separated from their customers, and you do nothing with the individual. You force it. That's even with ERP. The individual is decoupled. Now, lack of individualization. That's what we do with microservices. The technical operation can be specific then for him, or the professional procedures or business processes of the end user workflow. Now, that's what we're doing with microservices. Out of this one, now means what we say, okay, machine realm, We take autonomous, can do a tremendous element with both those elements, link them to orchestrate machine to machine and connect them here with what they call the query of things and link them all together in the query of things and analyze every sensor. And I think we are stronger instead of here to go to all the humans in the business domain. And this is where Real Rapid comes in, two elements to link them here to microservice and even help the end user to increase permanently the job to be done and make the productivity of the job to be done twice more. Solutions are distributed from programming machines, apps, etc. Now, what moved in the past? In 1995, a revolution came in by Netscape browser. And the browser was able to communicate to humans. From a workstation, from a screen, you could communicate with humans. Okay. And then in the browser, and you see from Netscape, the investments came. The first that Netscape was promoted with key fancy capitals like the Sequoias, etc. But Netscape became in the beginning at 80% of the market, but then later on it was killed by Bill Gates. And Microsoft was not in favor of Netscape. And they say, okay, I block it because you are all locked in. Say, well, you see vendor lock in, everything is my PC, and you're locked in with Windows in my PC, and I do not allow you to go to Netscape. And Netscape market cap came from 80% to only a few percent, and more or less, and it became what was the American Online, etc., and disappeared. But the investors quite earlier, it was on the same year I went to the Nasdaq. We were number two. Netscape was number one, but they became a very unicorn and increased a lot. But the investors took the money out of this one and invested in Google, in Apple, in Samsung, etc., in mobility, and then later on with his browser in social. And we have seen the Amazon effect, and we see that platform as a service, the Salesforce effect in the cloud, and Google came more in the cloud even as native. Now then we see with TensorFlow, with big data, with the analytics, and we see the Internet of Things. Now that's the problem. Here everything is consumerized and increased tremendous. But ERP was a standstill. ERP was struggling tremendous from 1995 till 2000, especially at the end of last century, to do this Y2K project and fix all those elements who were stored in the wrong way in the elements in the databases. Instead of the year 1946, there was they only stored 46, and say okay, and they saved a lot of data storage in the last century element. But all the traditional ones, with help of India, they were able to upgrade this and even make it available to this century, and they fixed the Y2K project. But then the threshold for new ones became by far too complicated. All those complexity from last century was now again available in this century. And the last 20 years, there was no upgrade cycle. That was the problem. You could not upgrade, no innovation. Now, we came to the conclusion, I quit, and I moved to what we call the Internet of Business. And with help of Google, etc., with our rapid environment, we built the Internet of Business. And now I'm able, what I've shown you years before with automaton, to link the Internet of Things. But there's something more, it's called also the Internet of People. Now we see those people are going now to the Internet, but they're not moving to the Internet cloud native. No, they're moving to the Internet with their Conway law, with their complexity of the functionality of last century and what they're bringing in, say, internet applications. It's a big step forward, but at the other end, it's not what we call the native internet stuff. Now, from this one, we are able to integrate in those days all the legacy part together. We accept and respect the standard solution, bringing it back to vanilla. The bespoke, you should kill it and immediately bring it here in the specific processes. And then we go to the task. And here we see we minimize license cost, vendor lock-in. We go to vanilla. We need only the elements for vanilla. We reduce maintenance costs. The custom changes are more flexible. You can adopt a new version immediately from those vendors. And here we're maximizing, aligning business with also IT, minimize total cost of ownership of total cost of operations. What we see there tremendous in the cloud, and bring competitive advantage, easy to maintain, and the elasticity of the cloud in the microservice. And here we moved to the front end to collaborate and build something in a few hours for task-oriented, user-centric, extremely flexible, and small and focusing. This agility brings us in a new world. And let's come to a conclusion. Wrap it up. This was bad. Unix, no cloud, no, we built before the internet, but Unix, amazing already, system of records, one database. Then we moved with Chorus to all those legacy systems, bring them on metadata in the browser. And the browser, that was more what we see these days, is SOAP APIs, more complicated, bring them in with SOAP APIs, and we could have end-to-end processes for all the underlying ERP solutions and warehouse management and PLM, etc. Okay, but built in the infancy of the internet. We quit when internet became more mature with big data, with the REST API, building modern apps, REST API built, and then we see data became information, we see becoming knowledge. Here we see these algorithms, what means it. We allow with big data the algorithms to store it, and now with Kubernetes again, we quit and we build still semantic data. And then all those intelligence can give us guidance, what we see with ChatGPT and all these elements, but still ChatGPT should belong to the business owner. Can help a lot, but the last mile is still done by the human. And that's what we do here. We call it, we build microservices, then AI driven, with Rapid Developer, Rapid Composer, then we build this microservices, a dynamic workflow. It's semantic data, it's still dynamic. This is PDF still here, and everything is dead like it can be there. Dynamic, based on machine learning, and the last mile we can adopt also this, say, edge computing stuff with Internet of Things on the last minute. And then we optimize them with all the machine elements as a co-pilot, or how do we call it, to have a tool for the knowledge worker where AI is built in, but the job to be done is driven by the wisdom of the knowledge worker. And here we increase the productivity tremendous of the knowledge worker. Now, coming to a conclusion, what means it then? What are we doing with these microservices? Now, we said last mile microservice on Kubernetes. Now, we see all those elements like a pod. And what is a pod? Is the smallest deployable unit of computing that you can do with Kubernetes. Very, very small components in a pod can be as Lego blocks, can be synchronized and integrated totally easy together. Like Lego blocks, we build instead of the complexity. And it's reducing tremendous complexity to build applications in very, very small teams instead of hundreds of people. You do it a handful. Now, the same moment, what we see, we do the deployment. In the deployments, run for the catalog, all those deployment stuff, which in the deployment provides the updates from a pod and to replica sets on this moment. And then in the application, what we see, make everything as a service, and abstract, and what is in the service, a Kubernetes. A service is a method to expose network applications, network apps, running them in a cluster and bring them together. Now, what we then do, okay, we still respect the old world, but we expect the old world is coming now to the Internet of Business. We see that all those players, Oracle, SAP, my beautiful Infor stuff, where we see with this hybrid logistic, that's what Infor did, amazing. And with these process entities, we link them together. Now we can easy talk with another player in what we see here, make market to order, the idea to market, the CAD/CAM, the PLM, where you see they are the CATIA of or other CAD/CAM players. They even bring themselves on the cloud, and quite easy now you can combine those elements and bring them together. That you see in your bill of material is even adapting both elements. But still, we have what we call the order to cash, elements therein, and we see the enabling elements. If we look to this one, now that means here we see the order to cash, maybe Salesforce, CPQ, service contracts, and sales orders, and here we see the HR, Workday, or we see the asset management and bring them all together. Now, you can link them here together in an easy way now, and they are able now with REST APIs to link them together, but it can be done in a much easier way. And that is where, say, what we call Rapid is connecting the dots. And I show you already this one here. Rapid is connecting the dots here, and we call it with decoupling, late binding. Now, in BAN, we could have already decoupled elements of manufacturing. We do the same here. Decouple all those elements and do it just on the latest moment. Boeing is building complete complex airplanes, and the monster is coming in a big hall and is flying out 9 months. That's it. But automotive is different. It's late binding. On the latest moment, half an hour before the customer is coming, the engine can be even built in. Now, it is late binding elements, that's the way we do it microservices. On the latest moment, we build it to what we call the Internet of People, and here we can communicate with the Internet of Things, with the query of things. And I have not to focus on the knowledge here, it's event-driven decoupled. Like I can decouple it, although I understand this one. Now, that brings us in a totally new way, where we see that microservice will replace everything who is more human related, like e-invoicing, I mentioned already, Undoc. The product cloud I mentioned. CPQ can be here, but it's not so complicated. Very easy, you can build a CPQ here. You can build a procure-to-pay element of this one. How to deal with real supply detail orders, because you have no idea for a supply chain. You can deal it here. Customer requirements, bring the specific ones in. Now, purchase order acknowledgements, bring them in a very smarter way, because ERP is too complicated for this one, and the downstream processes are not keen enough. Still, ERP is extremely strong to the customer decouple point to mass works scheduling when it's generic. But when it go downstream, the customer or decouple point make it as microservice in a very flexible way. Now, shop floor control, we build a totally brand new shop floor control where you focus everything more on the humans in the shop floor. You can build complete products and decouple them again, but here you can do the shift, installed, and service structure, etc. Now, coming here to the conclusion, I think this makes sense, and that's what we're doing here. Okay, now link them here together. Now, let me wrap it up. 45 years, burning my ships, leading with BAN in the world of Unix, have the Boeings, the Komatsus, still those products are still running in the logic I built in the last century. Amazing. I never expect this, because cloud is still, the logic is still most 80% is still my BAN logic, still running, but it's not native, and the middleware is not focusing on the cloud server. I quit. Learn all those lessons as the mother of all complexity, build a real operating platform, and bring everything together. But there we had the infancy of the internet. Quit again and do everything with consumerized stuff. And I like this, my Google phone. I changed from last week my Apple phone in a Google phone. But here there are, say, many components, what we see here together, and all those stuff, we see them and have them. Now, all those what I like, these components, many have, say, over 1 billion users are all united in the cloud. This is what I like to see. Google, as more than Amazon, have the knowledge worker and all the tools for the knowledge worker under control, what even Microsoft does not have. And then bring this stuff together. And I think that gives us a unique position. Although we do more than only we modernize the whole enterprise, but we do more than what we see Industry 4.0, but it could be a core element connecting the dots for Industry 4.0. Thank you very much.